All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Just give us a second as we are getting ready to go live on our Instagram page. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here for this wonderful experience. Hey, everybody. My name is Sistah Yaya, co founder of Soul Tribe Heals. I am here located in the wonderful country of Mexico, and today I want to bring to you such a special experience, something that we've been wanting to talk about for a while. And today we're going to talk about holistic tips for mental and emotional well being. Today we have my special guest here with me. Her name is Keshia AJ of Izora's Flora. And before we allow her to introduce herself, first I want to tell you guys once and always, just thank you. Thank you for being with the tribe. Thank you for staying connected with us. Thank you for choosing you and joining us at this time. Today we want to share with you something so important, which deals with our mental and our emotional well-being. Now, you all know I do indigenous healing work here in Mexico, based in indigenous Caribbean arts, science, healing arts, and Mayan healing arts here in Mexico. We do ceremonies, rituals, all kinds of things to help people to do this, to help us to get back on track in our mental health and our emotional health as well. Today, asked my sister to join me because she too is an expert from her experience working with individuals and families in the areas of mental and emotional health. And together, we want to share some holistic tips, things that you can do right now, right where you are, to improve the mental health. So before I decided on this topic, we talked about this topic, I did a little research. I asked you all, what are some of those things that you really are needing help with? What are those things that you've tried and you just can't seem to overcome by yourself? And a lot of you mentioned mental health and emotional wellness. So because of your feedback, this is how this process was birthed. So I want to thank you for that. It's a very important topic because to talk about mental health and emotional health, especially in the Black Indigenous community, takes courage. There's such a stigma around mental health and stigma around emotional well-being that nobody really wants to talk to it, or we don't really want to listen to those type of things. But we are here to listen and to talk about those things because the same things that we are not bringing our awareness to are the things that could be harming us. But we also know that there's a lot of power and a lot of help to help us to overcome these challenges as well. And those are the things we want to talk about. We are living in a busy, busy world. This is calling over here. We got to do this over there. Got to do that over there. Meanwhile, our mental health, in a lot of cases, is suffering, and a lot of us are suffering or have suffered in silence. So the goal of this talk with Keisha and I, we're going to be sharing some information with you. And if you stay to the end, I'll share some herbal wisdoms and things that you can do to help yourself. A lot of things that we're going to be talking about are practical, easy to do, and that you can do right now to help to improve your mental health. So I want to thank you so very much. And I'd like to allow the floor to be open for Keisha to introduce herself. She can tell you all the wonderful magic that she is, and then we'll get right into it. And by the way, family, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section, and we'll be sure to go back and answer your questions. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my sister, my friend, my tribe member, Keisha. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Yael, for having me.
Thank you.
So, my name is Keisha AJ. I am the founder of Azora's Flora. I do practice herbalism, energy healing, Reiki healing, and also teach Reiki. So, I'm excited that Yael has me here today because I like to share from experience, and I have a deeply rooted belief that I cannot assist anyone through anything that I have not gone through. And so, with those experiences that I have, I like to share uh, every aspect of those experiences, even the trial and error phases, because a lot of people um, understand that everything that works for one person doesn't work for the other. And so I have a tendency to go through my trial and error phases to find out what works and to assist others to find out things that work for them specifically. So yeah, that's a
Awesome.
little bit about me.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. So, Keisha, I have a question or a thought. In the world that we live in, when we look at mental health, sometimes people like, I'm suffering with this, I'm suffering that. But I like to see it like in a more holistic sense. Like there are actual factors that are influencing us, our minds and our bodies. There's these macroaggressions, such as like taxes and poverty, pollution, gentrification, things that are like, you know, kind of putting
Mm-hmm.
pressure on us. And then there's those microaggressions,
Right.
like the cost of the organic apple being $5, and you really want that organic apple
Mm-hmm.
because it was good for you, but it's expensive, or watermelons without seeds, GMO, EMF. So all of these
Right.
things we're dealing with on a daily basis. Some things we're aware of, a lot that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things
Mm-hmm.
are energetic, because not everything is what we can
Right.
see is energetic. So, what would you
Right.
say are some things? Well, first of all, what is your take on that? And then, what would you say is like certain things that we should be aware of when we're trying to balance out our mental health and our emotional well-being?
Okay. So one of the biggest things to ease my mental state as far as the organics and the things that are going on around us is they're unavoidable. Um, we do want to try to do organic and things like that. I don't stress organic because I'm not always purchasing organic, and I understand that everybody else cannot either. And so, if you can, in small ways, make differences in the things that you choose to purchase. Um, Even if you can't make the big purchases when they're more expensive and things like that, do what you can to choose a healthier way. And I also had to work on my mindset in terms of that. So I would it's a practice. It's definitely a practice to work on your mindset when it comes to the ways of the world, because everything fault. I don't want to blame Gaia for this, but
Right.
it's the energies that are set up to keep us in a state of survival mode. And once we practice overcoming that mentally, then
Mm,
we can start moving more in a direction of tapping into the energetic responses that we have to these things that are kind of like our underlying causes for mental health issues.
mm,
So yeah, I don't stress eating organic. If you can get buy an apple, buy the apple. If it's too expensive organic, get a regular apple, one that's not labeled organic. Try to buy local farm food. It's less and it has to go from Peru to America to keep
right.
it fresh. So if you want to try to buy locally, that's another thing you can do. So and that's the biggest thing about buying locally is the amount of chemicals that they put into it.
Right.
Uh, let's see. You covered a lot, so I'm trying to remember, as especially the energetic aspect. Now that is my specialty, the
Right.
energetic aspect of mental health issues, because the energy of an experience is essentially information,
Yes.
and that information, because we are energy, becomes entangled within our energetic field.
Mm,
And the more traumatic experiences that we have that we don't address energetically becomes built up within our energetic field. And it has a
mm,
tendency to create energetic blockages. And it also rewires our mind to
mm.
move in a way where we are still trapped in survival mode. And this is how we manifest our mental illness diagnosis and things like that.
Wow.
So I'm big on energetic work to overcome mental health issues.
Wow.
Like that's usually one of the things that I always go to, aside from the physical aspect, our diet, and our daily habits.
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it. And if I can just interject, I'm glad you said that because I'm the same way with the energetics. Like what I'm learning is that our mind is so powerful. It can transcend all the pesticides, the chemical. It can do all of those things.
Absolutely, yes.
And yeah, the organic food is great. But if you get ain't got organic, but you still got your mind, your imagination, your ability to speak life and develop a discipline, you can overcome any external condition by condition your internal condition. And it's not
Absolutely.
easy because it's easy.
It's
Everyone
not
wants to do
easy.
it.
It's a practice. It's a
It's a
practice.
practice, right? And
Yeah.
so let's talk about some of those practices. I'm so glad you said that. 'Cause I say that all the time to my vegan friends. I used to be vegan, and I realized, for me, this is just me. I'm not trying to tell
Hmm.
anyone how to eat. Like this ain't really
Hmm.
like balanced for me. For me.
Right. Right. Hmm.
And then I looked at the consumerism behind it, and I realized a lot of those foods are over processed. It's a whole discussion. I'm not getting into that, but it wasn't
Yeah.
really giving me the benefits that I was looking for. But as I started to get
Hmm.
more into my meditations, more cutting out the energetic junk food, right?
Right.
So there are
Hmm.
energetic carcinogens such as listening to gossip or trashy music or trashy social
Hmm.
media, because that's food too.
Hmm.
That's nutrition
It
as
is.
well. So once I
Whatever
got
we
to the
consume.
energy,
Yep.
everything we consume, eyes, ears,
Hmm.
nose, mouth, senses, those are the physical. And then you have the non-physical senses that we also are
Hmm.
absorbing information. Once I realized that was affecting me more than anything, it was a game changer.
Yes.
So the people I would spend time with, I was mindful. What I would listen to, what thoughts I allowed to run unchecked, which means I had to slow down. I had to
Hmm.
be mindful. Like you said, it's a practice and a discipline. So could you
Hmm.
explain a little bit more from your experience? Like, what are some of those practices that maybe you like to do to maintain mental and emotional well-being?
Okay. So I'm going to include some transparency as well. Um, upon rising, when I get up in the morning, there are these initial thoughts that run through my mind. I don't want to get up. I want to stay in bed. I don't want to be bothered, because I have a whole family, children, married, dog, all of that. So with those initial thoughts, I had to come into awareness of those thoughts because they have a tendency to shape or mold my day, how my day is going to go. So when I start my day with those initial thoughts, I've recognized that the rest of my day, I'm going to be irritated. I'm going to be short tempered. My patience is going to be short. Things like that. I don't want my day to go that way. I don't want to do those, have those interactions with my children. So, what I began doing in the morning is if I become aware that those thoughts are coming into my mind upon me rising, I have to change my outside surroundings when I open my eyes. So,
Mm.
one thing I've done is I've started keeping my blinds open, like like my curtains open. So I don't close my curtains to keep the light out. I open my curtains so that when I open my eyes, I see the sun coming through.
Oh wow.
So that was one thing. I added some plants to my room so that, I can see the growth and things like that. Just the things that make me happy during my waking day or throughout my day, things that I take care of that bring me joy. Sunshine, plants, something nice to look at when I wake up. That's the first thing that I've started doing. The next thing that I do after waking up is I try to breathe, be mindful of my breathing because breathing makes energy flow.
Mm.
And this is just, how I start my day. Just as an example of how I start my day and slow down to be mindful. Instead of jumping up and going, 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 I try to start my day more mindful with more mindful habits.
I love it. I love it. And I do the same thing. I was not really good at it. And then, I used to be a Christian back in the day, y'all. And so there's the concept of tithing, which is the first fruit, which is like the cream of the crop, the top. So I
Hmm.
started giving myself, like you said, Keisha, the first fruit, like before husband, baby, email. So whatever it is, when I open my eyes, that first
Hmm.
10 minutes, at first it was like 3 minutes because I just didn't have the discipline, to be honest, transparency.
Right.
3 minutes,
Yeah.
okay, this is for me. I'm connecting with my ancestors. I'm setting my intentions for the day. I know I got a lot of things to do, but I want to at least put the energy out so that the spirits can work to clear out, the obstacles, to make my day go smooth, to help to feel me,
Hmm.
to give me the wisdom and guidance that I need. Because what I was trying to do was do it all in my own strength. I was trying to live
Right. Yeah.
life like without, like, I got this. No, I'm strong. I'm this. I'm that. I don't need no help. And postpartum, shows me who was boss, and it wasn't me.
Hmm.
And
Right.
who was boss was the Great Spirit and the ancestors, those who I really had to rely on for help, for wisdom, for clarity, and they really helped me with my mental health. So I connect
Hmm.
with them. Y'all, I need y'all. I
Yes.
can't do this by myself. And
Hmm.
they would make, if I had to do something with business, I asked them to clear, give me favor, or if I have to have a conversation I don't want to have, give me the words to speak. And it took a lot of stress off for me, right? And so even in
Mm-hmm.
the evening time, what I would do is that's another time I do my ritual, which I'm releasing all of the
Mm-hmm.
conversations, all of the things that I've taken from my eyes, my ears, my nose, my mouth, all the things I've taken from the day. I'm like, I'm surrendering it. And what I've
Right.
learned is before we go to bed, we're in that state when we get into theta and our subconscious becomes very active, which is where who we really are and where our real desires are in. And if that's filled with a lot of junk from the day, then that's like
Mm-hmm.
ruminating in your spirit at night. And that's starting to,
Mm-hmm.
to manifest. So I figured if I can program that part of me while I'm sleeping and still get my spirit to work for me, ah, there you
Yep.
go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shortcut.
Yes.
That's a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Like,
It
spirit, I
is.
need y'all to do this, because I can't do it all. And so I found I was
Mm-hmm.
less tired. I had
Mm-hmm.
greater joy. I had greater peace and clarity just by working with the spirits and the energy. When I say spirits, y'all, I mean
Right.
everyone got different energies that they work with. I'm talking about my
Mm-hmm.
spirit team, my angels,
Mm-hmm.
my elevated involved ancestors, my animal guides, my all of the people who are come to help me, and everybody has a team. Let me just say this:
Mm-hmm.
everybody
Yeah.
has a spirit team. Don't nobody come here without supernatural help. Okay. And you may not
Mm-hmm.
tap into them as often, you may not be familiar, or you may be, but everybody has supernatural help. And one of the things that's helped me so much is asking them to help me. When I didn't have
Yes.
anyone I could call, I didn't have anyone who can give me sound advice. I felt like I was in a wilderness with postpartum and not having family support. And a lot of you who are listening are in the same situation without very good family support, friend support. Just know you got a lot of celestial support, and tapping
Mm-hmm.
into them, they will help you through some really really tough times, and they can
Yes.
also lead you to people that can also help you as well. So that's one of my
Right.
tips. Just
Yeah.
sometimes you're in the wilderness and you're like, oh, you can
Mm-hmm.
tap into the power that lives inside of you, and they will help you. The thing is, you gotta ask.
Yes. Yep.
Closed mouth don't get
You
fed.
do.
That's real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they will watch you. They will
Yep.
watch you go through it. But if you don't ask them, baby, because it's only through your permissioning and your invitation
Mm-hmm.
can they assist you. So remember to ask for your supernatural help because it's your birthright.
Facts. Facts. That's one thing I always say. The journey is yours alone to make, but you are not alone in it.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing. Many people feel like nobody understands. Nobody will understand. They'll think I'm crazy. It's like, no. Be
Mm-hmm.
open to receive. Be open to
Mm-hmm.
receive that guidance because it's there. It's always there and it's always going to be there for you and it's always going to come right on time when you need it, but you got to ask for it.
You gotta ask for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, Keisha, I have a question for you because you have
Okay.
a pretty sizable family. You have
Mhm.
children, a husband,
Fourth.
and things like
Yep.
that. 4 children, right?
Mhm.
And I always admire your ability to just really be so in tune to each and every one of them, to be in tune to yourself and your husband, and still have so much to give to others. Now, for those who are listening who have children, multiple children, however the children are in their household, and sometimes it can be a little chaotic with everyone doing different things and things like that. What
Mhm.
advice could you share with anyone who's parenting children and they are stressed all the way out? I mean, they are just like
Mm.
way out of their beyond their capacity trying to
Mhm.
parent. And sometimes, when we parent children, we parent ourselves. So we go through our own emotional things,
Right.
relationship things,
Yeah.
and work and community. And I know you do such a fantastic job just from knowing you all of these years. So you're the expert, honey. Well, what advice might you give a mother or a father or a
Mhm.
family
That's a
trying to maintain
really
their
good
well-being and be
th-
a parent that's present because you're super
right.
present with
Yeah.
children. You're
That's
super.
a
So how do
really
you
good
do
question.
that?
That's a really good question and I could talk
You're
about
great at
that
it.
all day long, but I'll try to keep it brief, okay? So, the one of the most important things, and this is a conversation I actually had with my sister not too long ago because I was expressing to her, you have to take care of yourself first. You're going to have to take care of yourself first. You cannot give from emptiness. You cannot give, well, you can give emptiness from emptiness. Like, you're not going to be given much. You can't give from brokenness other than brokenness. And so we have to be mindful of our own energy. We got to be mindful of our own mental state. And I understand it's hard to squeeze that into taking care of a family while, trying to set time for yourself. But the most important thing is you're going to have to take care of you first to make sure you're good so that you're not pouring off what you're dealing with internally onto your family. That's something I had to learn. I had to learn that. I had to start, and it sounds selfish, but it's the most selfless thing you could possibly do is put yourself first.
Mm.
And I don't want anybody to take this wrong when I say put yourself first. It's not like, hey, hold on, wait, no, this is about me right now. No, that's not what I mean when I say put yourself first. What I mean is you have to be mindful of the way you feel. You have to take the time to take care of yourself on a mental and spiritual level, because you got to be able to connect to information. And this is what I do to be able to navigate it the way that I do, the way you express that I do. I'm constantly receiving information from spirit. And this
Mm.
information that I receive from spirit, because I've taken care of my energetic field so much that it's not congested with all the unnecessary, I'm able to receive information. And this is how I'm so able to take care of these children, because I'm receiving information from their spirit team as to what they need for their spirit to nurture their energy. It's
Wow.
not based on any biased experience that I've gone through as far as information that I'm providing for them or guidance or knowledge. It's a selfless act of receiving information from their spirit so that they
Wow.
can navigate their spiritual journey the way that they are meant to, and not the way that I want them to just because they're my children.
Wow.
And this has caused so much balance and harmony within our home. Now, our home is not without issues like every other. The kids fight, they argue, they have their meltdowns, all of that. They have those things. They test us, they try our patience, and they test boundaries, all that good stuff. But when I remain mindful and connected to spirit, that is how I receive the steps, the tools, the guidance, the information, so that I can assist them with anything they may be going through.
Wow. Wow. Did y'all hear that? That is so many gems. Oh my gosh.
That's how
So
we make it.
that is amazing. So what you're telling me is staying connected to yourself, number one, getting the
Hmm.
guidance and support and having your cup energetically filled for yourself, number one, allows you to
Right.
have the ability to expand, to understand and tap into each one of every person in your family, including your husband, even the dog, and anything
Yes,
there,
even the
to get
dog.
into it
Hmm.
and know what that need is. So you're working with not so much in the physical, right, but in the spiritual. Is
Right.
that what
The
you're saying?
spiritual, yes, because the physical, before I got into, my journey, active and aware of my journey, it was always, well, this is what happened to me, so I don't want it to happen to you. You can't do this, you can't do that. And it's like, okay, so once I got into spirit, there was always fights in that aspect of the physical.
Mhm.
There was always resistance. There was always, I mean, for lack of better terms, there was always resistance, in the way the children want to move, as opposed to what I know is better for them and how they should move.
Mhm.
But then when I allowed spirit to speak to me, their spirit to speak to me, my spirit to communicate, when I allowed for that information to channel through, I was able to communicate to them in a way where they are open to receive, so that
Mm.
they can make sound decisions and begin working with their own energy, so that their emotional states are more in balance, within balance, and their children. So it takes and it requires practice and constant repetition. And I don't hold that against them, because I'm the same, even as an adult, it's still practice and constant repetition. Spirit is my parent. Spirit is
Mm.
parenting me most of the time. And
Right.
when I don't learn from spirit, when I don't learn my spiritual lessons, I get reprimanded spiritually.
Yeah.
And that's awful.
Hmm.
So the and I allow that that same grace that I allow upon myself, I allowed it on my children.
That's so
And
nice.
it's created like a balance and a harmony within the house where we're working together.
Wow. That's so
And
powerful.
I show them my shortcomings and I let them know, hey, if you ever see me get there and, take it there with you, like if I get, fussy or impatient with them and it's hurting them, making them feel some kind of way, I allow them to speak to me, Ma, calm down. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on, wait, you screaming at me. Wait a minute, or
Mm-hmm.
I allow them to speak these things so that it's like, oh, right, you're right. I got to work on that. I'm sorry. So
Wow.
we create this balance in the house.
Amazing.
It's taking time. It's taking years, and we practice, and we still practice, and we still work on it. But
Sure.
it has really helped a lot with their emotional well being.
Wow. And I imagine that reflects on you. Like it's like you're mirroring each other. Your well-being reflects their emotional well-being and vice versa.
Mhm.
So this is
It
family
does.
mental
Mhm.
emotional wellness we're talking about here, right? Starting with what
Right.
you're doing and kind of working with the energy of the household and creating this
Mhm.
ambiance where there is wellness, where there's balance, not perfection. We ain't striving for
Right.
that,
Not
but
perfection.
balance,
Right.
right? Just
Right.
balance. And we're practicing this together as a team, right? You
Absolutely.
keep me accountable, I keep you accountable, and together we're just gonna
Mhm.
grow together. You said something so
Yeah.
important, and I wanna ask a question, and I want to share something, but I want us to come back to the question. So you
Okay.
talk about the spiritual things that you've developed, because some people may be like, well, I don't know where to start. You're talking
Mhm.
about tap into your spirituality, and I don't know what that feels like. I don't know, like, what can I do to do that? So that's a question I want us to talk about in a second. But I also want to
Okay.
share what we do here in Mexico because it ties in beautifully what you're talking about tapping into your spirit, into your energies. Um,
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent for therapy. I am a huge
Yes.
proponent for it. I believe it's helpful. I believe it can ease symptoms. However,
Mhm.
I'm also aware of other methodologies that our ancestors have practiced for centuries, which actually gets to the root of the
Yes.
symptoms, right? And there's
Yes.
levels to it. So there's no judgment for all
Mhm.
my therapist friends out there. You know who you are. I love you. I
Mhm.
support you. But there's other methodologies that we can use, such as plant medicine, such as immersion therapies like Temescal, which is a sweat lodge, that our ancestors have
Mhm.
used to allow us to free ourselves or break free from the ego, to break free from the pain and the trauma. Sometimes it's important for you to leave the environment that you're in for a little bit to kind of get recalibrated, right? That's why people
Mhm.
go on retreats. That's why people take these pilgrimage and do all these things because they need to get separated. The reason I'm bringing these things up because we're talking about spiritual tools that can help us to bring us to a place of emotional and mental balance. Sometimes you got to step away.
Yes.
Time out.
Mhm.
Get away from the environment. Go to a place and just so you can think and breathe. Sometimes you need some medicines, and some of these medicines can travel deep into your subconscious and allow you to see, to feel, to know yourself outside of the reality that's been created for you. And there are medicines that can help us to do that. In addition to that, a
Mhm.
process of integration, which allows you to see of how you experienced this medicine and the journey you went on, but now you're back into this world that you're in. How do you integrate the new you into this world that it helps you to maintain your wellness? So I say
Mhm.
that to say because there are a lot of tools that are out here and that are available to us to help us with our mental and emotional well-being. Ancestral medicine, Keisha and I just talked about tapping into source. That's your own energy is always going to be number one, always.
Mhm.
You can go to the most world-renowned psychologists, this and that. If they do not allow you or provide you a space or offer you the opportunity to tap into your own energy, it's just going to be a band-aid. It's going to be a band-aid on a gaping wound. Because
Right.
only you can heal yourself. I use the word, oh, healer, but no, I just create the vibration so someone can step into this
Mhm.
water and get healed, basically.
Yes.
You come, I
Yes.
got you, man, you do it yourself. Because every
Mhm.
person has the ability to heal themselves. And this is what I really want to share from my perspective is that self-healing ability that is there. You have all the
Mhm.
answers, you have all the wisdom, you have all the resources to do it. Our jobs as guys or quote unquote healers, although we don't heal anyone, is to show you, hey, come over here. Look over here. Let's play over here in these waters. This is what could happen for you over here. Come on, take a leap of faith. I'll guide you.
Mm-hmm.
And but
Right.
your energy and your spirit does the work. So I do
Mm-hmm.
recommend those who are looking for getting help with mental issues. I've seen people with like severe schizophrenia, severe deep cases of depression. I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen ancestral medicine such as Temescal. It's like this. It's like they wake up, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
dream, and then they wake up out of it. So those are some things that I like to just suggest and put out there. Not saying everybody needs to do plant medicine. I'm not saying that,
Right.
but there are a lot of methodologies that you can do right here, right now. They don't cost anything. So my question to Keisha was, what are those things that you would that allows you to tap into your spirit so you can get to your superpower?
Oh, well, it's going back to things we consume. Uh, so whenever I begin to feel disconnected or I'm feeling emotionally stagnant or stuck or anything like that, like overwhelmed, the first thing I do is I look at my food, the foods I've been eating, the things I've been putting into my body. Because I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian. I do drink a lot of fresh fruit juices. I do that, very mindful of what I try to put into my body, but sometimes I'm not. And sometimes I am eating the junk food and the chips and things like that. And that does have a tendency to weigh us down energetically, and it has an effect on our brains.
Yes.
Um, that's something that we don't usually consider when we think about our food. We mostly think about how it affects our physical, our waist, waistline, weight, things like that.
Mhm.
But if we actually think about the way food interacts with our minds, you will come to understand that a lot of things that we consume from shelf food and things like that, that stuff is it alters the brain.
Yes.
It alters the brain heavily. So Uh, for one, coffee, caffeine. A lot of us consume caffeine on a regular basis. I don't consume it anymore on a regular basis because I've learned through weaning off of caffeine that it does alter the brain in. Whew, it's wild what I recognized in myself after I
Wow.
stopped drinking coffee. Um,
Mm.
I noticed that caffeine was associated with my anxiety. It made
Mm.
it worse. Um, those thoughts I would say I wake up with in the morning,
Wow.
the negative thoughts and not wanting to get out of the bed, I guess you can associate that with a form of depression.
Mm.
Caffeine associated, like I noticed it was more whenever I had caffeine the day before, or earlier that day before I went to bed, things like that. I noticed when I stopped doing caffeine, I didn't have those thoughts so much.
Wow.
Yeah, processed meats,
Wow.
lunch meats, deli meats, dairy, has effects on the brain and
Wow.
on our emotional state.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I stopped consuming those things, fasting,
Oof.
fasting,
Yes.
under the umbrella of fasting, is when I stopped consuming those things. I recognized the difference in my mental state. The
Oh,
physical state, great. The bloating, all of that,
yeah.
the fatigue, the joint pain, things like that we get excited about because those are the physical manifestations that we're noticing a difference in.
Mm-hmm.
But pay
Mm-hmm.
attention to how the things you consume affect your mind, affect your
Oof.
emotional state, and affect the way you feel because
Mm.
they really do affect us
Wow.
heavily. And that's why you see so many people who advocate for holistic health advocate for a natural way of eating, more plant based, more fruit based, live foods, is because the things that we get from the freezer section and the shelves and the packages is what's affecting our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So, first and foremost, I look at the things that I'm eating
Wow.
and then I start mentally preparing to fast.
Wow.
Hmm.
I love it. That's true. And I've noticed as well for myself. If I consume too much sugar, Oh, I'm
Mhm.
so miserable. I'm so mean. I'm not drinking enough
Mhm.
water. I'm mean. My head is hurting. I'm irritable. Or, even at night, if I eat sugar at night, I don't sleep well. I get night sweats. And I'm like, ooh, and I'm like sweating through the bed. My husband's like, what is going on? The sugar.
Mhm.
And I know it's just
Mhm.
breaking down the cells. And for people who are highly melanated as well, it has a particular impact on actually the melanocytes, which are the cells that create melanin.
Mhm.
And melanin are in our eyes and
Right.
it helps us to taste. It helps us. It's in our nervous system, and there's different types of melanin.
Mhm.
But it's very important on how we sense the world. And I know
Yes.
sugar is horrible for the nervous system. When I say sugar, I'm talking about white processed refined sugar. Be very clear on that,
Mhm.
because there's
Right.
sugar in other forms as well. And so yeah,
Mhm.
I have experienced things with sugar. And so what I've
Yes.
done, which I'm going to share, I guess I can share now. There's some herbs that I would take that would help me to bring down those cravings, but also just
Mhm.
bring my energetics back into balance. Just like,
Mhm.
why am I craving sugar? Or why am I craving
Right.
this? When we food that we crave, sugar, meaning
Mhm.
that we are lacking maybe some self love, maybe the
Mhm.
sweetness in life, right?
Yes.
So we're
Yeah.
in our lives that we're not feeling sweet or sensual, right? And then we're looking for
Mhm.
it in something external, which is quick and fast, and something that is sweet, like a cake, like
Right.
a cookie, like me.
Mhm.
um, and even our cravings, Keisha, can tell us a lot about
They sure
energetically,
can.
right? Do you want to talk about that,
Mhm.
like how our cravings
So
could?
yeah, so like for example, craving crunchy foods,
Uh-huh.
chips and things like that. It's been shown that people who crave crunchy foods are dealing with chronic pain. So like
Mm,
I know they say like when you're chewing ice and things like that is the iron deficiency and things like that, but it's also crunchy food. You may be dealing with chronic pain.
mm,
So if you pay attention to the craving of the crunchy food, it may be associated with chronic pain. If it is associated with chronic pain, then we have to get to the root and the source of that
the
chronic
roots.
pain that you're dealing with. Yeah. Um. Ooh, excuse me. My sage went out, so the bugs are getting a little
Oh,
excited. They're attacking me right now. But so I'm just swatting that.
yeah.
It threw me off. But yeah, the cravings, like you said, the sugar. I like to replace. I replace my sugar now with the fruit juices, because I do have a tendency to crave sweets because I realize that I'm constantly in the go along mode. I'm not giving myself that sweetness. I'm not giving myself that
Mhm.
softness in that moment. I'm giving it all away. I have 4 daughters. So I'm constantly, trying to show them love. And then I realize I'm depleted of what I'm giving out. So now I'm eating junk to compensate for that. And it starts, messing up my skin and things like that. So it's like it all goes back to getting to the root of everything. And
Yes.
that's the big that's how we manage. Once we recognize the source of anything that throws us off balance, we then have the cure.
Right.
To know the
Yeah.
cause is the cure. The cause is the cure.
That's
To
right.
know it.
That's
So
right. That's right. I appreciate you saying that. And you mentioned like having your daughters and making sure you get yourself the sweetness. And when I thought about why I would crave so much sugar is because I realized I had a mother wound, and my mother was not sweet, and she was not
mm,
comforting, and she wasn't any of those
mhm,
things. And I realized I
mhm,
try to get all through my life really, and the illnesses that I've gone through, like cancer and pre-diabetes and liver disease, was all me trying to fill my mother wound void. And until I
mhm,
kind of got maybe 5 years ago, it really dawned on me, you're trying to mother yourself through comforting, and I use food,
mhm.
and going through
Right.
different from like overeating to not eating enough, being full bodied to being very, very slender at one point, was my way of trying to get my emotional needs met, until I
Mhm,
realized and connected more to the ancestors just through prayer. No one told me this
mhm.
except for my spirit.
Right.
And sitting
Right.
and sitting still, like, no, baby, you need to look at your mama relationship. That's why you're not getting the nourishment that you need, and you're eating these
Mhm.
things. So I found the
Yeah.
cause, which led to the
Yeah.
cure, working on the mother wound. And now I'm just
Yeah.
aware. I'm not saying I'm fully there.
Mhm.
I may not get there in this lifetime. I don't even care. I do care
Right.
about the awareness that
Yes.
Okay, when I
Awareness is
see this, I think
everything.
this is just telling me. So awareness is another tip, family, that
Mhm.
you can use as you're in your healing journey. You don't have to know it all. You ain't got to be there
Right.
overnight. It's not about that. It's about the awareness of yourself. And once you become aware, just the awareness alone is a major part of the healing. Just the awareness alone.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
some things I think that are really helpful are meditation, and there's so
Mhm.
many different meditations out there. So many. I do a lot of different ones. I don't know, Keisha, if you want to share some that you do, but I love like self-love meditations because again, it talks with my innate energy, nothing outside of
Mhm.
myself, just focusing on
Right.
who I am and developing my inner person, my inner light, my inner strength. So I love self-love meditations. You can go on YouTube, self-love meditation, choose one. If it resonates, go with it.
But one thing I do want to add,
Yes.
when using YouTube meditations, preview it first.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to it before you go into the meditative state. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm
Yes.
gonna share a story with y'all on the first time I learned that I should have listened to this before I went into it.
Uh-huh.
So I chose one on YouTube, got ready, put my headphones on, cozied up. I'm ready, and I go into the meditative state, listening to this sound. It was like a om, like om, just the om. And at some point, it turned creepy. And I'm
Oh.
not sure if it was my energetic state or this video, but at some point, the sound began to shift and I started hearing something totally different from Om. It was like a statement being chanted in my ear, but it was so scary. And it threw my energy off so bad. So
Wow.
yeah, I feel like there's ops in the spiritual community, and everything ain't even if it's labeled a certain way doesn't mean that's what it's for. I need so y'all use your discernment when you start tapping into stuff like this as well, because everything
Yes.
is not set up to assist us. Some of this
Mm.
is set up to throw us off.
I love it. That's
And so
true.
yeah, so anytime I go before I use a sound or something I've never heard before or to use to meditate, I preview it first
I love
and
it.
pay attention to how it makes me feel before I use it to tap into my subconscious mind.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah.
And can I also I want to share about meditation because
Yes.
I do get a lot of people say, "Well, I don't know how to meditate. I don't That's a lot. That's a lot for me. I can't sit still." And it's like, so meditation is not what you do, it's a way of being. When you
Mm.
are meditative, you are in a state of constant awareness. You are allowing spirit to speak through and to you at all times in everything that you do. And it's not something that you actually like have to like just constantly think about. It's more like slowing down in life.
Yes.
Move a little slower. So sometimes we get emotionally overwhelmed and we feel like we have an emergency going on. But if we actually pay attention to what we're experiencing, we'll understand that our emotions are affecting us more in the experience than the actual experience is affecting us. So when we take
Mm.
the time to slow down in the experience to receive information as to how to move forward, because it'll just pop up in your mind. We can receive information how to move forward, what not to do, what not to say, what emotions not to react on.
Mm.
That's being in a state of meditation
That's right.
in your waking life. You don't have to sit down with your legs crossed and with the mudras and the quiet and the sit still with the it doesn't have to be that all the time. Meditation is when you're sitting in the shower thinking. It's not sitting in the shower, you're standing in the shower, but being in a meditative state. You're in the shower, you're thinking about your day, you're releasing, you're letting go. That's meditation. When you sit in your car before you walk into work and you're talking to yourself and you're contemplating things to motivate yourself to move forward, that's meditation.
Yes.
When you're sitting on the side of your bed before you go to sleep or when you wake up and you're thinking and you're talking, that's meditation. So a lot of people meditate and don't even realize it
That's
because they
real.
think it has to look a certain way and it doesn't.
Wow. That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those gems. Thank you. In
You're
this
welcome.
moment, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's joined us on this live. We're streaming live on Facebook. YouTube, and Instagram. I'm here with Keisha AJ, and she is here sharing her wisdom with us. And together we're talking about holistic tips for and mental and emotional wellness. So I just want to acknowledge everyone that's on the line that came in. Dolly's in the house, Laureen's in the house, Ivana's in the house, Jamisha's in the house. And I just want to say thank you. There is Destiny Henson's in the house. And she commented on something you said here, sis. She says, "Oh my, I have
Okay.
opted out of these overnight frequency recordings because I was concerned about what we're going into the deep sleep hours. So thank you for sharing." So
Oh, you're
yes, thank
welcome.
you so much. Uh-huh. The virtuous Licia. Excuse me if I said your name incorrectly.
Lasaya.
Says facts. Lasaya. Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Says facts. It's not all they want you to believe. Don't make life harder than it is required. All right. Thank you, sister. Thank you, love. All right, and Nichelle, hey Nichelle, Nichelle's here from Mexico. She said great info on the meditation. So yeah, that's definitely some important gems. One of the favorite parts, one of the favorite persons I like to listen to for meditations, and I actually been to their retreat. I have their books I can recommend. Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if you all know Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yes.
I
Hmm.
can 100% vouch for
Hmm.
him and his work. This is a book called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. This helps to teach you how you can start to reprogram your mind. The way we
Hmm.
think, we can, we think the same way, we move the same way, we have the same results in our lives. So this book helps you step by step the how to reprogram your mind through meditation, but other actions as well, so that you
Hmm.
can live the life that you desire, tapping into your own energy. He has a lot of
Hmm.
different books. This is what I'm working on right now, and he also has meditations online. I recommend you go to his uh, website
Hmm.
and
Website
record his meditations. Don't get the ones on the YouTube because yeah,
on
they're free,
YouTube.
but you wanna they got AI over voice. It got all kind of stuff. Because I'm just like, okay, this is not
Hmm.
Dr. Joe. So
Right.
this is a great resource I want to share with you. Breaking the habit of being yourself. Great for emotional wellness. Great for reprogramming yourself. And this book is probably, how much is this book? It's not even $20. It's $17. So I do
Hmm.
recommend you research the works and watch his interviews on YouTube, because it's definitely something that he drops a lot of gems. And if you're in the
Yes.
metaphysical thing and you're into spirituality, you'll be able to connect with it. So he just takes things that are mystical
Hmm.
and put it in the language of science. Trust me, I've been to
Right.
his retreats. It is the same
Hmm.
thing. You get these great
Hmm.
experiences. So I do recommend Dr. Joe Dispenza for those who want
Yes.
a resource. Sorry, the virtuous one. I apologize. She said, I'm not a sis, but maybe in spirit. I apologize, my love.
Oh.
I'm sorry. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. Love you so much for that. I apologize.
Okay.
Keisha, do you want to share any resources or any
Um,
last
I
tips?
was
Because I want to share
actually
some
gonna.
wisdom in a moment. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I was actually gonna speak on Dr. Joe Dispenza because that is a lot of where I received a lot of my metaphysical knowledge and abilities, because he does coach you through how to reprogram your brain. And in speaking on reprogramming our minds, that's essentially the basis of how to heal through mental health issues is reprogramming our minds really. Once we get to the energetic aspect of um, clearing energies and things like that, then we have the task of reprogramming our mind. And so that is the basis of the experience I've had with reprogramming my mind is using Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations and the books. The one book I recommend by him initially is Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Mhm.
I love that book. I've
Yeah.
read that book and reread that book because, like you said, he connects the metaphysical and science. He bridges the gap in his books. So if
Yeah.
you're a science person who wants proof, you require proof. You want to understand how this works and why it works. You don't want to think it's just magic. You want to know how it works, the science of it. Then his teachings will definitely give you that understanding as to how it works on a scientific level. He explains how our bodies work as electromagnetic energies and how to reprogram those energies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Uh,
Keisha. And I've been to
mhm.
his retreats, and you will really see
Yeah.
how powerful you are. Like he teaches you how to tap into your, yeah, like you can do this.
Mhm.
If your own DMT. You can make your own
Mhm.
melatonin, serotonin. Like we all have it inside of us. That's one of the things I
Yes.
like about him as well. He teaches you how to activate your own medicine.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. Let's see. As far as any other recommendations, you were saying recommendations for like meditation.
Any recommendations that you have for mental emotional wellness that you just want to share? I mean, we have about 10 more
Okay.
minutes or so. So whatever.
Okay. Back to the plant medicine. I know a lot of people, the main thing they say is they're scared to try it, like as far as mushrooms and things like that. Um, I was the same way, and I haven't been using them often, but it microdosing did assist me with getting through some aspects of life as far as addressing any trauma and any emotional wounds. It allowed me to tap more deeply into my subconscious to see the truth in the experiences that I've had so that I could retrieve information surrounding the traumas that I've experienced in order to work through them and release them,
Mm.
especially with childhood trauma. When we're dealing with childhood trauma, we have, if we think about a child's mind, the way that we tell, as a child, we can tell ourselves stories about the things that we experience. These stories may not necessarily be true, but they are ways for us to cope in order to survive, to get through. So then we have to go back and dismantle those beliefs that we've adopted in those experiences. And I was able to do that using plant medicine. So it really does dig deep
Wow.
for anybody, interested in digging deep.
For sure. Yes, they really do dig deep. I just like to say one caveat with plant medicine, and because especially in the States,
Hmm.
just to the
Yeah.
general public, y'all be mindful of where y'all getting your mushrooms from. Be
Yes.
mindful of where you're getting your who's giving administering these ceremonies. People who are saying they're
Hmm.
shamans. Just because they're a shaman, that doesn't mean they are a facilitator of that medicine. Those are two different
Right.
things. And some people may have gone to South America and had this and harvest some mushrooms and come back and say, oh, yeah, we're going to do this, do that. Be very mindful because these medicines, they're ancestral and they must be treated
Mm.
with respect. And if we don't approach them with respect, we can have a very traumatizing
Adverse. Hmm.
situation. Yeah, and I've seen it a lot of
Hmm.
times. People will call and say, hey, can you help so and so because this person took this mushroom and they lost their mind. They don't know who
Mm.
they
Yeah.
are. And
Right.
that's not everybody's situation, but I ask that if you're going to take the medicine, that you make sure you have someone who is seasoned, ask questions about their experience, get references. It's really that serious, y'all. Someone who can
It
sit with
is.
you, where you can know where your mushrooms are coming from, or if you're using mushrooms, some people may use ayahuasca, tepescoite, Syrian root. These a lot of different things. Who's
Mm-hmm.
harvested, where it's harvested, how it's harvested, because all of this has an impact on your experience. So I know it's a
Yes.
big thing right now in the state to have these experiences and ceremonies, which is I'm glad people are aware of it. I'm glad people are wanting
Hmm.
to, but just make sure, family, you know where your source is coming from. And if you decide to take a trip, that the person who's sitting for you or who is your sitter, they are experienced and they can hold the space for you. And there is an integration process afterwards. So after you've seen all of this stuff, your ancestors and everything, how do you connect to this world? And how do you integrate
Hmm.
your learning to continue your healing? So I just want to
Right.
share that to anyone who's interested in that because it's a thing right now, but there's a way to approach it. So I know
Yeah.
Keisha, she does her things and she has her protocols, but a lot of people are not aware that these medicines are very helpful. You can have a really interesting
Practice
experience.
safely.
So
Yeah.
always practice safely,
Hmm.
family. Yes,
Hmm.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. As someone said, shrooms helped them in the beginning of their journey. Wow. They had 130-pound weight loss. Wow.
Mm.
And they can help you to connect to the other side. You can't be dependent on the shrooms. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Someone said you just have to use it as a conduit and from there remain highly vibrational. For sure.
Hmm.
For
And
sure.
then there are spiritual practitioners who assist with things like this. Like
Yes.
so I like to say there are spirit guides in the physical. For those of us who have a hard time tapping into the spirit energetic guidance we can receive from our physical spirit guides, basically,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I don't use the word healer so much because, like I said, we're all our own healers. So I'm just a spirit guide in the flesh.
Yes. And a great
So
one, FYI. Keisha is my
Oh, well,
go-to.
thank you.
She's my go-to girl. So now my cat's out the bag. She's one of my go-to girls. But she's just a great soul, and she gets to it. She's very balanced in her approach. She's very loving, very clean energetically. You know, spiritual hygiene is very important to me. How who
It
you
is.
are outside of social media or outside of what people are
Mm-hmm.
looking, and you want to be with a practitioner who actually has good character, who's
Well,
actually
thank
very
you.
honest and straightforward and very clean on the inside. So Keisha to me is one of the best. One of the best. I'm not just saying that because she's here. I tell her all the time. I always promote her, and that's why we brought her in for y'all to get some of her energy as well. But you have a practice too, Keisha, right? You have a website. You have tell us about
Hmm.
like your offerings and things like that.
Okay, yeah. So, well, thank you again for the opportunity. So yeah, I do a lot of metaphysical work. I My goal is to get people connected to their spirit and then provide supplemental support along their journey. So,
Mm,
I'm not really doing a mentorship right now, but I do have services that I do provide, specifically for connecting with energy, clearing energy to get you started, and then to keep you going.
mm, nice,
So, and I
nice.
offer practical advice, working with family, children, things like that.
Yes, y'all. She's good. She's really good. She is
Thank
good,
you.
y'all. Y'all already know that. Y'all feel her energy. I ain't got to tell you. Y'all already know. So I'm just letting y'all. I'm just saying it from my personal experience. She's great. Carlisa says here, it's really that serious. I assume she's talking about the plant medicine. Look for those of us who have done
Yeah,
the work. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I want to acknowledge April. April will be chatting on Friday. She says, awesome topic. Thank you. The Virtuous says, well spoken. And Dolly says, yes, she's definitely a beautiful spirit guide. That's Keisha. So
Oh,
I can agree.
thank you.
Absolutely. And I just want to share a few things before we wrap things up. Some herbal support family that you can use just right now, right now, that can help you along your journey of well-being. Things that are accessible, things that you can just whip up in your kitchen. Simple things such as soursop. Y'all know soursop would be my herb, y'all, because it's so good for the nervous
Hmm.
system. It repairs, it rebuilds, it soothes the nervous system. Everybody could take it. It's anti-cancer, antiviral, anti-anxiety. Let's just cool the body down from all of the static and the noise. So make yourself some soursop
Hmm.
tea and give a little to your children and give a little bit to your spouse or those in your house. Make it for everybody. So soursop tea is great. I also love
Hmm.
sea moss. Sea moss is very nurturing, is very mothering. So when the stress is high, things get a little difficult, you could tap into the medicine of sea moss, add it to your soups, your smoothies, your juice, your tea, and just take it. It's filled with so many minerals, so much nutrients. It just helps to support your body and all of its functions. I also like what we call sorrel. People call it hibiscus. It's that red flower that we make into a tea. That's very anti-inflammatory. It's helped for bringing down blood pressure. It helps with sugar cravings, and it's very antioxidant. So it helps to fight those free radicals and helps to bring the stress out of the body as well. So those are simple herbs. You can go to your African market, Asian market, pick some of those up, make yourself some tea, stay on your herbal regimen every day,
Hmm.
drink you a cup of tea, and just make it a ceremony for yourself. Make it a
Yeah.
ceremony for yourself.
Hmm.
Um, if anyone has any last minute questions, I would love to answer. Or Keisha, if you have a few more moments, you want to share any other herbal? I know you're herbalist as well. She's a girl. She's a
Hmm.
career herbalist. She's taking our class, so she's definitely a herbalist as
Yes.
well. You want to share?
And that has been life changing for me, like taking your herbalism class, because
Mhm.
we use herbs every day. When you mentioned soursop, that is a tea we drink in this house every day.
Awesome.
Occasionally we do our hibiscus, and we do soursop bitters.
Mm,
Yeah. So yeah,
nice.
we definitely use herbs every day as a means to also assist with physical and emotional well-being, and we make it a practice. I've made herbal tea blends specifically for my children, anything they might be dealing with, any like, because they're all different, so I make them different herbal tea blends
Wow.
specifically for them, to assist them with anything they may be dealing with, going through, whatever, assist them on their journey. And that's something I like to do as well for others. So that's
Nice.
another service that I offer, is the herbal tea blends.
Nice. Nice. Well, y'all, family, this has been such a rich and enjoyable and fun conversation. I want to thank you, Keisha, for your time, sister. I love you so much. I want to thank all of y'all who tuned in. Y'all hit up Keisha on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We have a retreat coming up in November, Indigenous Medicine Woman Healing Retreat. Y'all want to get these medicines? You want to get your mind and
Hmm.
your soul right? You want to heal the mother wounds once and for all? I'm telling you, we have so many testimonials of people that spending 9 days here and rebirthing themselves. It is an investment in yourself. We invest in cars, houses, everything else don't give us no return. The best thing that give you the best return is investing in yourself. So click the link in my
Hmm.
bio, find out, get your free brochure, fill out the form, check your email, get your brochure. We do plant medicine, we do Tamascal. We do a lot of fun things, and you get certifications in Mayan Sobada and Caribbean healing herbalism. So you can take that back to your community to serve, to further serve those who you love. But we just want to
Hmm.
thank you so much, y'all, for joining.
Yes,
Keisha,
thank
I
you.
love this so very
Yes, this is
much. This was
great.
just
It
excellent,
was great.
excellent.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. All right,
Thank you
y'all.
for the
Y'all come find
opportunity.
us. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Y'all find us on our social medias and stay connected to the tribe. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Love you. Bye bye.